Hello, everyone. This is Bun Murder podcast, and we're here, just like Terminus and RFI, to review a Last Days of Humanity album. Yay!
I was thinking the same fucking thing this like today. Like, if we did that, would Jump just be like, "What the fuck?" Like in his head, like, "Fucking really?"
Yeah.
Did they just do the same album at the same time or something without realizing it?
Well,
Kind of.
Terminus did it like a week or two ago, and then Jub was like, "Oh, I've been wanting to do it, but I got to do it before Terminus does it," and they already did, so he's like, "Might as well."
Does
So-
Last Days have a new album out?
No, they're just going through their discography and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, we're gonna do the demos that no one heard. So, no, just kidding.
Yeah, we're gonna make them up on the spot
So yeah,
because
this is
apparently it was two vocalists and or a vocalist and a guitar player who was not actually playing guitar, but like making guitar sounds with his mouth.
Are you serious?
So that's what people have been saying. Apparently, no one has heard this, and no one can track down anything, any demos or anything like that.
the Bun Bun Boys got the hook up, so I got it.
I've thought about that in the past. Could I make an album using my mouth as a fuzzy guitar?
You probably could. You could throw
Well-
like a microphone through like a guitar pedal and do something.
Can we hear your best impression of a fuzzy guitar?
Your best riff.
Oh, what riff? What riff?
Yeah, it has to be your own.
No, that sucks.
So what was that riff? Down, 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 down. Was that your riff?
I don't even know what that was. That was just shit. Not even gonna lie.
Guess what that was? That was Purple Haze.
Oh, could have fooled me.
Haze, only my name.
Did you guys name yourselves in this, or was this a mistake on my
I
end?
named myself in this.
You did.
I also named myself.
Yeah, so I'm Flan, and we're joined by Frexy. I guess that's Sexy Freddy.
Damn right it is.
Yeah, I don't know. I did that last week. It was still up from last week when we had to come back. I wrote Dan the first time, and then I just like Flan.
Okay, I like these.
Flan.
Isn't it flan?
Well, I'm calling it Flan because in Courage the Cowardly Dog, they pronounced it Flan because it was called Fan. I remember the guy saying Fantasy Flan. He was like hypnotizing you with the Fantasy Flan.
Flantasy.
Yeah. You guys remember that one Courage where there's the gerbil, and they like fly over a cliff on a fucking sea-doo type thing?
Wasn't that like the last episode?
It was a later one, but there was like a song.
I
that
thought it was like a
playing while
water. I thought it was like a waterfall, and they're like going through the sewers and like.
Yeah. They were like in a tunnel, and then they fly off a waterfall at the end.
Yeah, the
And
song
there's a
was pretty
It was
epic.
like, "It's a gerbil's world. It's a gerbil's world." I remember my next door neighbor thought that was really funny, the gerbil world thing.
Wasn't it like a really intense song, like at the beginning, because it was like a
Oh!
pursuit?
No, it started off the gerbil world song, and then it like transitioned to this kind of like operatic song. It was like,
Yeah,
yeah, and that's where they like fly over the cliff. That was a cool episode, the gerbil world.
that's cinema.
That's cinema. Yeah. Gerbil, let me look that up. Gerbil World, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Yeah, the character's name was Dr. Gerbil. It says a reoccurring character, the human habitrail. Dr. Gerbil who pedals
Human
vacuums.
habit trail.
Dr. Gerbil who pedals vacuums and eventually shrinks Muriel and the farmer, trapping them within his vacuum. Then he was in... Oh, then there's Gerbil World themes. The highlighted manipulation, experimentation, dangers of unchecked ambition within Dr. Gerbil's view of the world.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
we've all been there.
I didn't realize he had more than one episode. Apparently, he has 4 episodes. So there you go.
I ran through Courage last year, so
Oh, you did?
yeah, so it's a little fresh.
Wow, that is really fresh. You know what was really fun? Do you remember the one where they go to the museum at night, the like art museum,
Mm-hmm.
and Mona Lisa comes out of the painting and she's like talking with the David, the thinker guy.
Mm-hmm.
There was a scene there. I remember, it was like one of the stone angels or something, and he's like one of the little cupids. He starts crying, and Courage gives him a Game Boy, and then he smiles and he has one tooth. He's like, ha 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 ha, and he's like playing the Game Boy.
Yeah, that's
That
how I was when I had a Game Boy.
Playing a Game Boy. You hear that, Sam? No Game Boy.
Yeah, that was funny. The Frasier games.
Yeah, Frasier games.
Yeah, I was looking that up, and then this other one, the fan made one, came up. It was like a Frasier RPG. So
I would
gonna play that.
I'd play the shit out of a Frasier RPG.
So somebody made a Frasier RPG?
Yeah, it's called Frasier Fantasy.
Frasier Fantasy.
Yeah,
what year did this come out?
I don't know, but I sent a video of it to you guys.
Dude, I think you could just play it.
Yeah, you can play it online too.
Because I'm on Frasier Fantasy, like the website.
Yeah.
Oh, here you go.
Yeah, you can just play it right there.
Yeah. You can just play it on the computer. Or
God
probably
damn.
on your phone, I assume.
Yeah, I got like some apps so I can play Game Boy games, the emulators.
If I just randomly go quiet, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, we're gonna devolve into like a Twitch stream of Frasier Fantasy.
I'm down.
I'm okay with that, yeah.
A special
Call
episode.
Trevor over and we'll have one mic.
Yeah, apparently it's a pretty short game though. I think they said like 87 minutes or something like that.
Yeah, short and
So an
sweet.
hour and a
Nothing
half.
wrong.
I was thinking about the Frasier game. I was thinking like, who buys that? Is it like somebody who has a kid with a Game Boy and then they just happen to like all the games that are on Frasier? So
Well-
like, what was it? It was like chess and shit like that.
Well, I'm sure that there was people during that time that were a little younger or like young adults that just got Game Boys and played them. It
Yeah,
was like a bit
yeah,
of a novelty during the time, the handheld games.
yeah. I mean, I guess people still play video games. It just kind of baffles me. I have no idea what people are playing now. I'm just totally out of the loop with video games in general. As of now.
I just started playing Final Fantasy VII and the Bolivian remake.
Did you buy that on what, Steam or something?
Nah, just PlayStation.
Oh, so you bought the OG disc.
No, they just have it on their store online.
Okay. I have the disc. I haven't tried to play. I don't know. You know how I am with video games. I just can't even bring myself to fucking do it.
Yeah.
But I do have that game. I did play Medieval for like a minute.
Yeah, I
That
think
game
they
was
have that
fucking
one.
hard.
I think they have that on PlayStation 2, where they have like the retro game, Medieval and Medieval 2.
A remake of Medieval, and that looks better because the original Medieval is like the pixelation is so horrible and the lighting is so horrible. It's hard to make out where you're going and like what you're doing.
Yeah, there's
Because
some.
it's so dark.
Yeah, the PS like 1 games are like really hard to play now, but when I didn't have a choice, it was like the best thing ever. But like especially having to control cameras and stuff, like I was trying to play Dino Crisis a couple months ago, and I was like, what am I doing? I literally couldn't see what I was doing.
Help
Dino
me.
Crisis.
But yeah, the remakes are making it nice for my spoiled brain of new gaming,
Mm-hmm.
making things a bit easier.
I don't know if it's because we were talking about the Frasier game in chat briefly, but I did start watching Frasier season 1 again. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it's like
It's a comfort show.
it is, and
Didn't you
it's
say
been
that-
long enough.
Didn't you say you had like a hole in your heart to like that needed to be filled through Frasier and Cheers?
It's one of those shows where it's like when I watch it, I'm transported. I feel like I'm there, and I feel I
Yep.
don't know. It's just it's so different.
I'm the same way with Star Trek Next Generation.
I need to get through
The Picard.
OG series still.
Oh, come on.
To get
How
there.
long is it
I know.
been?
I never got through the OG series either.
But
my
it's
dad,
so good.
Actually, my dad watched.
I'm
it.
pretty deep in there, but it's just like, takes about an hour an episode. So But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like on season 3 now of that show, The Bear, that like cooking show.
Okay. Never heard of it.
It's
Yeah.
like what's that guy from Shameless?
Oh, that guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
His name is Lip. I don't know what his real name is.
yeah, that guy's show basically. Um, Pretty good. Yeah, Lip Gallagher.
Yeah, Lip. He kind of looks like, I used to say he looks like a retarded version of Shia LaBeouf. He kind of does.
I can see that.
Yeah, I can't win them all.
But there's
I suppose
a
not.
yeah, watching that, and then I recently watched that movie Friendship. But I don't know the thing about these like movie showtimes anymore. It's like I expect there to be like a buffer of like 20 minutes between like trailers and like the actual movie starting. So like I was waiting for some food, and then 20 minutes went by, and then got the food, went to the theater, and then it's like it feels like I missed like a good like 30 minutes, not even like 20 or so, or not even like 10 minutes.
God damn.
Yeah, so I was like kind of thrown into the middle of this movie and like didn't know how the fuck things got to that point. But from then on, what I watched was really funny actually.
Men shouldn't have friends.
I don't remember if I mentioned it last week, but I started rewatching 24. That was a good
I've
show.
never seen 24. Is that the fucking like hospital show or is that something else?
No, 24 is the, like the thriller. I guess it's a thriller series, where everything happens in real time. So every episode takes place between like, let's say, 6 a.m. and 7 a.m.
Okay.
And the show happens in real time as you watch it. So, like a minute of showtime is a minute in real life, and vice versa.
I've heard of this. I remember hearing good things about this.
Yeah, it. Some of the later seasons got a bit shaky, but like the first one was good. They didn't really find their footing just yet. Seasons 3, 4, 5 are really the best, I think. And I went straight to season 5. And that one is like non-stop. It's a really good season. I'm surprised neither of you ever watched it.
No, I've never seen it. I've heard about it like only recently too, and I think I remember hearing about it back when it was on. What was that, 2009 or something? But yeah, I've never seen it. I might just give this a watch. I'm back in the TV movie watching mood. It's been a little while. I tried to watch go for it.
I'd say start with season 1, even though it doesn't get
All right.
doesn't really hit its stride till season 3. But if you start at like season 3, it'll be confusing.
Yeah, I don't want to be confused here.
No.
Yeah, I tried to watch some old black and white show called F Troop. I don't know if you've heard of that. It
No.
takes place like near the end of the Civil War, and it's like the premise is like this F Troop is the worst cavalry that there is. So it's like the ones you call on the very last, and the show is just kind of I don't whatever. I've heard good things about it, but I my brain hasn't been able to latch on yet. I feel like that's what it was kind of like with Frasier for me at the very beginning. I wasn't like totally immersed. It took a little while. And, like,
Well, I find a
stuff,
lot of
just doing stuff around the house and just having it on in the background.
yeah, I find like a lot
Hey,
of
it's
shows
funny.
like it takes a couple of seasons for them to really hit their stride, right? Like it's that way with 24. I think it's that way with Frasier. I think the later seasons of Frasier are better, and like The Simpsons first couple of seasons where it's like crudely drawn. You're like, they're still funny, but they're not.
I like the earliest Simpsons. It feels way more genuine. I feel like they kind of got carried away with the humor as it went on, even to like something early, like season 5 or 6 or something.
Yeah, woo.
It gets carried away. For me, it gets carried away to a point. I'm like, I can see why this is. Well, it's just not. It just doesn't hit for me. Where the early seasons kind of do.
But Star Trek Next Gen, we all know first 2 seasons are. There's some good episodes in there,
Don't know
but
that.
by and large.
Yeah, we don't know that.
I don't
Oh,
know
we
that. My
do.
dad knows that.
Actually, you know what? All the Star Trek series, well, the later, like the 80s onwards ones are kind of that way. Like Next Gen, a couple seasons were shaky. DS9 didn't really get going till season 3. Voyager, Voyager was a bit stronger to start. Like it was, Voyager was the worst of those 3 series, but it was the most consistent across the board. Like there was a ton of difference in quality between the first episodes and the last episodes. But Enterprise was better than people gave it credit for. I liked it.
All I have to do is watch the original series again. Finally, I think I got up to like maybe episode 7 or 8 on that.
Oh wow! I find that
park my ass and start watching some TV.
I find season 1 is, some episodes can be pretty difficult to get through, but the good ones are really good.
Have to check out. I did watch a few. I finally watched some movies this weekend. I never do that. I watched a movie called Boomerang with Eddie Murphy that just happened to be on cable TV.
Oh yeah.
That was pretty good. I think that's from '92. It's romantic comedy. I don't know. It's just a black movie, but I enjoyed it. It was pretty good. And then later that night, I watched a movie that actually I'm surprised that I would really like. Fucking a movie called Stop or My Mom Will Shoot with Sylvester Stallone. It's like
Oh god, I remember that.
Yeah, remember that? It's like a buddy cop movie, except it's like mother and son cop movie.
I love when these
I
like
was entertained.
80s action icons like Schwarzenegger and Stallone veered into like comedy action, and you're like, what the hell is this? It was entertaining, but it was fucking weird.
Like twins.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito, they meet their mother at the end. He goes, "Mama."
There's Red Scorpion was cool. That was a great movie.
Mentioning that one. I don't
Dolph
remember
Lundgren.
if I've ever seen Junior. You ever see that where Arnold is pregnant?
Yes. Oh god, yes.
There's a line in there where he's like laying in the bed and he's like, "Where's my Larry? I want my Larry." I just remember that.
Oh man.
And then I watched another movie that was just on cable. It was called The Quiet Ones from 2014, horror movie. And it has that. Yeah, no, I don't think anybody ever saw it. It's a 2014 horror movie, and it's. This is the thing about these movies. Hold on a sec. Let me look at the cast here, because there was somebody in this that like made it almost watchable. Let's see, The Quiet Ones.
The poster for this is like the most generic
Let me see, what is the
thing
poster
I've
look
ever
like?
seen.
With
like-
the girl's head.
No, I'm looking at the one that's just like 3 guys' faces and like black
Right.
dripping. Like that's the most mundane possible.
Basically, it says the movie is like this professor believes that poltergeists are actually not ghosts; they're caused by like negative emotions within yourself, and so
Oh,
they
yeah.
try to create one like with this like young girl. The guy who was in it, his name is Jared Harris. The only thing I remember him from was fucking was Mr. Deeds. He was the boss of that like newspaper company.
Oh god, yeah.
He's like, "Hey, Bob," or whatever that guy with the mustache. Yeah, I just remembered him from that. I'm like, okay, that's good. And then they had, for whatever reason, they kept playing the song over and over again. They kept playing "Come On, Feel the Noise" by Slade, the original one. And I'm like, okay, this movie seems like it's okay. The premise is interesting. The lighting and all that stuff was pretty good. My only problem with it seems like there's something that happens with all these horror movies from like 2010 on, where it seems to be like I explained this on like about the Babadook when I watched that. It's the exact same thing happens. It's like, okay, you got a good premise, you got everything's pretty good, and then there's a point in the movie where, oh, the crazy thing's happening and now everything's crazy and everyone's dying, no, and then there's like a ending that's kind of happy. It's like the same thing every fucking time. It like takes you out of it. There's no subtlety, there's no anything. It's just like out of nowhere, everything's crazy, there's the ghost, it's crazy. I don't know, there's something about it that bothers me. And then I go, okay, this sucks. Something that I thought I would like sucks.
I was gonna say a move that I liked was The Ritual from I don't think it's more than 10 years old, but I don't know what year it came out. And I think it was a Netflix
2017,
movie.
That one.
Yeah. I guess that's one where that sort of happens, but I actually really like that one in particular. But I know what you mean. Like, something happens and then everything happens at once and then it kind of ends. So like the last
time.
everything that leads up to it is like okay, and then the last act is like super fast paced and you're like okay. But
Yeah,
the problem
it turns
with those
into an
movies,
action movie every time. Like it turns into an action movie that like feels super rushed and like really just out of nowhere. I think that's what I don't like about it.
I think some movies can pull it off, but the problem is if they make the first 2 hours like really boring.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with a slow burn, but like make it interesting at least.
I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe I just want like still sort of the subtlety of what was going on in the rest of the movie. Okay, like perfect example. I know people have their qualms about this, but Hereditary was a good movie. It was cool.
I liked it, yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. Like all these people are like Ari Aster. I hate Ari. It's like, dude, name me as opposed to what, idiot? You got something better? Fucking retard. But yeah, something like Hereditary where that isn't a super slow burn. It starts off, boom, something happens. Boom, something happens. Boom, something happens. Boom, it gets a little bit crazier, and then it gets insane, and then there's a resolution where you go, oh, fuck. That's perfect. That's a perfect. Hereditary might be a perfect movie. I was talking, yeah. But, you know, I was gonna say like the kid looks adopted, but I think that was part of the movie, but it wasn't really talked about much because it's like why is he Indian?
Did you like The Witch?
Found that boring. Don't really remember what happens.
Oh, I liked The Witch.
Yeah, I don't really remember what happens.
You know, the one movie that I don't know if we've ever spoken about this one, but with Nicole Kidman, The Others. You ever see that?
Oh, I have seen Nicole Kidman in what was that fucking movie? Joaquin Phoenix. The one where she like kills her husband or something. What the fuck was that movie called? To Die For. Everyone should watch that. That's a cool '90s movie.
I remember that.
Yeah, Nail Bomb is on the soundtrack.
But yeah, The Others was. I really like that. It kind of pulled what. So I mean, obviously, spoiler alert here. It kind of did what The Sixth Sense did in like reverse, where Nicole Kidman is in this house with her kids, and just weird haunting things start happening. And what you eventually find out is the hauntings that are happening are living people in the house that have taken over the house after her and her children died, and they're the ones who have stayed in the house. And it's actually pretty cool. Like I mean, I was young when I saw it.
It's okay that you spoiled it. It still sounds cool. I'll still watch it.
Like 2001, I was like what 17 when that came out. So like I didn't see the ending coming myself, and there were some. I'm not usually a huge fan of like jump scares, but there were some scenes that made me jump out of my skin. Nothing like it was all like very artfully
like,
done.
literally.
Like it was like yeah, like I was like it just made me jump. Like it was a good like ghost scare. But
Rexy was skinless.
Yep. No, it was a good movie. I like that one a lot. I should rewatch it. It's been a long time.
2001, not too bad. There was like an era of horror movies like of that time that were just guilty of being like cheesy in different ways. I think the dialogue was really shitty in certain ones, like Ghost Ship. I saw that not too long ago. The beginning
yeah.
was cool, but the rest of that movie
is that the
pretty
one
much
where
sucks.
like the cable like just snaps
Yes.
and like cuts everyone in half?
Yes.
Yeah, that was
See,
weird.
promising. The beginning is promising. Ghost Ship, but it says horror or mystery. It felt more like an action horror or something. I don't know. Whatever. Bad movie. Ghost Ship.
Huh. Yeah. I only remember the opening scene. Everything else is kind of just blurred.
You guys have anything else to that you wanted to share here?
I had a pretty uneventful week. Even the collection update was pretty slim. I just got one CD.
Oh no.
Yeah, just one. Good old Ontos On. I don't know how to help pronounce that, but the Quebec band. I think I shared it with you guys in the chat. Ontos On.
Oh, that shit. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Somber, chaotic, and entrance in the chasm of existential resignation. Woo.
It's symphonic black metal, but with like riffs, and it's aggressive and it's cool.
Yeah, I really like that that EP. It was
The album cover had like an orange tint to it.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken.
it was Nas from Nightbringer who recommended it. I checked it out, and I'm not surprised he recommended it. I can definitely see some similarities with like Nightbringer and Bestia Arcana, etc., etc. But when I posted it, I wrote that this band's like claim to fame is that they say they used a pipe organ when they recorded this.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true or not because they uploaded the EP to Bandcamp and they just wrote keyboards for the guy who played pipe organ allegedly on this. And ultimately, it doesn't really matter. It sounds like pipe organs and it sounds really cool. Whether they pulled it off with a keyboard really well or they actually used a pipe organ, I don't really care. I don't think they're trying to velvet cocoon us.
I'm not super familiar with Nightbringer and bands like that. Like, I take a look at these guys and I imagine a certain thing. I think that's what they would call like orthodox black metal. No, I might be wrong about that.
I don't know. Like the orthodox black metal thing, there's like a couple different ways I saw that. Like I remember like a band like Countess, if I remember correctly, was calling themselves orthodox black metal, but they kind of saw it as a return to more heavy metal influenced black metal. But then there were bands like Watain and Offermod and fucking Onscapt that kind of had that like medieval sort of almost like stained glass window sort of aesthetic that kind of got called orthodox black metal a lot. I think it was actually I think it was Offermod that came up with the term or that used it the most frequently. I don't know.
I think I'm thinking of like stuff that's more similar to like what's this band called? Achilles? Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like it's new anymore. It was like big in the what? Late 2000s, early 2010s, that kind of sound. I don't what would you call that? Cuz it's not quite dissonant. It's more like and it's not quite atmospheric. It's like a certain kind of aesthetic and sound too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I interviewed him right for Metal Legion, and
Achilles?
yeah, Nas, and it was for the last Oculus album, House of the Black Geminus, which was pretty cool. He uses a lot of noise influence in his albums, and it's kind of a lot more prevalent in because like Oculus kind of it started as like I don't know if you call it like martial industrial or black ambient, dark ambient, whatever.
Something like that kind of makes sense for a band like this. I would
Yeah, and it kind of like turned into more black metal, and House of the Black Geminus is very much like that. And I've kind of always seen his various ongoing bands, Oculus, Bestia Arcana, Nightbringer, and Aeratos, as like different heads of the same Hydra because they all have like a very dense, harrowing kind of feel to them, and he pulls it off well. Like it's while at the same time I wouldn't necessarily call it super original, it's also very identifiably his music, which is not something a lot of bands can lay claim to.
Yeah, that reminds me. I was just looking at. I think this is a show. It was posted by Sinistrari. It's called Apocalyptic Rites something. I think this is a show, So we have Argoslent, Der Stürmer, Dawn of Purity, Thy Chamberlain.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Garloth. I don't know what some of these bands are. Sinkarawata. I checked out two of them because they had cool names. I checked out the band Belith's Trumpet. You ever heard of that?
Huh. No, I remember seeing that, but Argoslent and Disturmer were the only bands I was familiar with on that lineup.
Yeah, I checked out Belith Trumpet, and it kind of reminds me of the Aculus and stuff like that. I mean, even look at their band picture. There's like a Funeral Mist shirt, and they got like everyone's in black. There's like big beards, tight pants, and I wanted to like it. I'm like, oh, Sinistrari, they post cool stuff, and I checked this band out. I'm like, and the name was cool. Like, this is oh, it's that kind of black metal. I don't like it.
The Bestiar. The last Aeratus, or not Aeratus, Oculus album was really good. My favorites from him were probably from Nightbringer. I think it's like their fourth or fifth album, Ego Dominus Tuus, and the second Bestia Arcana album, Holocauston. They are fucking awesome. And he used to be in Excommunion, and I think I must have sent it in the chat at one point, but there's a split between Dethroned and Excommunion, and it's a really, really good split. That is more like straight, I wouldn't call it straightforward death metal, but it's like black death metal, but like tinged with brutal death metal. It's pretty cool, worth checking out. They reformed later without the guy from Nightbringer, I think. Oh no, he was. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Thronosis is a cool album, but that split was good, and Dethroned didn't do anything else. And their four tracks are pretty solid.
I just came up with a new what do you call it? Bad look section.
Oh no.
This is for I just thought of this one. This is for bands in particular on stage look. I've said before. I'm trying to think of what were some of the other ones. If there was one that I said before, it was like no ski masks. Bad look. It looks stupid. I don't know. After seeing this Bellis Trumpet band, this is going to be a little bit of a hot one, spicy one. No tight pants. I think we're done. No more tight pants. I'm sick of looking at it.
We're fine. I'm fine with that.
Are we now? Okay. Yeah. It seems like some people. It seems like that's totally gone away because that was a thing forever. I'm guilty of this too. But yeah, I think the tight pants thing. I think we've had enough of that. We wore looser pants, please. Regular pants.
I'm gonna tell Glow.
You're gonna tell. Well, he wears loose pants. He wears shorts on stage, and that's fine. I know Dog goes no shorts on stage. You know what? I'm pro shorts on stage, even if you're a black metal band. There's a way to do it. Okay, if you're a black metal band and you're gonna wear shorts, no corpse paint.
I was gonna say you have to corpse paint your legs.
Oh no!
Legs like black streaks.
Make them all white.
Oh no!
Probably. I've seen a guy on stage with a fucking tracksuit and face paint.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Paint. That's when they just don't give a shit anymore.
I would say if you're gonna wear shorts on stage as a black metal band, no paint. If you're gonna wear shorts, no gauntlets. You kind of have to commit to the look of I don't care. Another guy in the band can wear that shit. Regular pants, no tight pants. And I don't know how effective bullet belts are anymore. Maybe that's kind of over. I think the gauntlets are kind of fine all the time. Bullet belts, I feel like we've seen enough. You know, how many times do we need a band with fucking bullet belts? I mean, really.
How do you feel about bands not being uniform in their look when they're playing? Like,
What do you mean by that?
Oh, like, this is not a super example, but Disaster from Germany. There's the one, I forget who it is. Occulto, I think, who always wears corpse paint, but is the only one. No one else wears corpse paint in the band.
I think that's okay.
Yeah?
But I think if you're gonna be in a band like that has that kind of unsyncopation, well, lack of a better word, you all the band members need to be. Or okay. So one guy wears paint, the other guys need to be in spikes at least, and all black. Maybe a white T-shirt, but black pants for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing with Disaster. At least it's the look is fairly consistent across the board. Just one of them wears corpse paint, the rest don't. So it kind of works, but like, I think it would, on a certain level, bother me. At the end of the day, if they came out and played a great set, I wouldn't really care too much. But if they all came out in like leather and gauntlets and corpse paint, and one of them's in a tracksuit, I'd be like, "What the hell is this?" All right.
If you're gonna be if you're in a band and you're wearing blue jeans, then the rest of the band has to be like not in gear. They all just have to be in their street clothes, which is black jeans and a black shirt or a white shirt. But no gauntlets, no paint. You can't really. I feel like there's something about blue jeans where you're taking away from any kind of mystique or like something cool. I mean, you can still look cool in blue jeans. I don't know. As a black metal band, you would all have to be. The rest of the guys would have to be in like all black. That's the exception. You can't. I don't want to see like a guy in shorts, like red shorts, a guy in black pants, and then the singer has like gauntlets and like full gear. That just doesn't work.
What do you
need to have syncopation in that way.
The band Ackercock, who always dress up in like suit and tie to perform?
Good
Is
look.
that
It works for them.
You don't think it's gimmicky?
No. It's not gimmicky just because I've seen an interview with them and somebody asked them that question. And they said, we just like to dress up. You're seeing a show and we're going to dress nice. And fine. If they were playing some kind of like dirty, filthy, but like slimy, they're not playing that though. They're playing kind of like sophisticated, satanic, proggy Black Death. And that works for them. And they have clean vocals and that look works for them, and I always thought that was a cool look and cool band.
And on the other hand, there's like Flesh God Apocalypse, who dresses up sort of like that too, but they suck. Yeah,
I saw them. They suck.
I don't think I've ever actually listened to them.
You don't have to.
They suck.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't know what they. I think they play some kind of death metal. They play like, if I remember correctly, they play something like decapitated death metal, but like stripped down and really boring. And then there are like kind of symphonic keyboards blown out through everything, and they never stop. And it's a gimmick. It's a gimmick.
Symphonic.
That's where it's a gimmick. Ackercock is not a gimmick because they're good.
Symphonic tech death.
Yeah, they suck, big time.
But they're wearing like clothes that like people play like in a orchestra or something would wear. So yeah, very gimmicky.
There was another band on that Sinistrari list. It was called Nocturnal Sorcery. I thought, okay, I've never heard of these bands. I'll check them out because I'm kind of on a
the most generic name I can imagine.
I know. But I'm kind of on a kick now. We're not a kick, but I have a mission in mind to start to listen to newer bands and find something that I like. And
why would you do that?
Because I there are so many metal bands right now, and like the scene is booming. It's an online thing. Everyone's going to MDF. Everyone's a this. Everyone's a that. Everyone loves black metal. Everyone loves blah blah blah. Whatever. So there has to be something to it. If it's just horseshit, then what's the point? What is even the point of having a metal scene if it's all suck? If it's a giant suck fest, and not the good kind of suck fest.
Yeah. No, there's some. I don't think it's the fact that I don't like newer bands so much as there's an overabundance of bands to check out that I'm just like, ugh, wow, this is so much work now.
Yeah.
I'm just having trouble getting through like the 20 teens.
Yeah, well, I'm still constantly checking out old stuff, but I feel like either I'm missing out or I'm kind of just being an old grump and like everything new sucks. So I'd like to I think I asked the listeners, send in your comments, show me something new that doesn't suck. You guys talked about Mephitic Corpse. I listened to that album. It was pretty good. I like there was a intro sample of like a voicemail. Guy's like, "Hey, I'm just sitting here drinking
Yeah,
whiskey."
that part's great.
It is like, I got them T-shirts. Like, hey, well, I'll see you later. It was almost like George when he leaves that fucked up voicemail to that girl, and he has to break into her or get into her apartment before she gets in there to like take her tape.
Did you ever listen to their demo? Immense Thickening Vomit? That was
No.
fucking sick. That was a great demo.
Okay. I did discover a few things, actually just this weekend.
Ooh. Tell us.
Well, I was thinking like, okay, I uploaded more shit this week.
Yeah.
All NSBM, and that's just because that stuff is not on YouTube, and that's kind of my goal, is to upload stuff that isn't on YouTube. So I'm thinking I'd like something more into like what I think is really cool, old Finnish death metal. Like, is there any old Finnish death metal that's not on YouTube? So I go searching around, advanced search. I found a band called Nux Vomica. Don't know that anybody's ever heard of Nux Vomica.
Oh yeah.
You have heard of them?
Mm-hmm.
I've heard the name. Couldn't remember what they sound like offhand. But...
They have something on YouTube, but not like their main demo. So I found the guy on Facebook who runs some little Finnish. Yeah, so they have the rehearsal, but not the allegoric execution demo from '90. So I bought that tape from a guy who reissued it. I don't think, does it even show? Yeah, Morbid Cellar Records reissued it. So I got a copy of that, and I'll rip that so we can listen to some Nux Vomica. So I want some more death metal stuff. I don't just want fucking NSBM over and over again. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's like I was like, you're talking about this band. It's like the lame kind of like crust band with the same name. But yeah, I knew that one.
Finnish death metal.
Yeah. Yeah, their page looks a lot better.
This guy did a few. This guy did upload, or he reissued a few things that are like completely lost, like a band called Sanctity, from Finland, Kamos Instrument, Funebre, Eternal Darkness. Listen to a little bit of Eternal Darkness this weekend. I always forget how fucking cool Eternal Darkness is.
They really were.
You forget. You kind of forget about Swedish death metal because, well, for me, it's like, oh, every band there's like so many Swedish death metal rip-off bands. It's like, I forgot that actual Swedish death metal is good.
Yeah, there's
classic stuff.
There are a lot of bands in Sweden that, like, even their shit has been like reissued and compiled, and you don't even know about it. Like, I remember when I found the CD for Exempt, and I'm like, this is some newer band that I never heard of. No. This is a band that released a bunch of demos in the 90s, and just never heard of them.
Yeah.
And, what was the other one? Like Incarnated. You have fucking Absurd. There's a Swedish Absurd that released.
I like Swedish Absurd. That's a good one. There was a mysterious band called
House of Usher was awesome.
House of Usher is awesome. Yeah. Good death thrash stuff.
Fulmination. Fulmination was really good too.
I have that fucking comp LP thing.
Yeah, same.
It's a good one. I kind of don't love the artwork on it. It looks kind of stupid.
Yeah, it does. it looks like some sort of grindcore. Like, kind of reminds me of the NME album cover.
Yeah, that one's not horrible, but I don't know why they chose the artwork for Fulmination. It just looks dumb.
Not as bad as the Necrophile compilation that came out on Dark Descent. That was... I remember asking... Matt about it. I'm like, why that cover? It's like this CGI like bendy trees. It's called Mementos in the Misting Woods, and I was excited for it. So it was the first time that Necrophile's stuff had been like put together, and I saw the cover. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Is that the cover with the arrows going up in the air?
Yeah, it looks like trees or like tall houses. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be, but I remember seeing it being like, what the fuck is this? This is bizarre.
Yeah, it
But
is a little bit bizarre. It's not totally a turn off, but yeah.
I mean, fortunately, I knew how fucking good Necrophile are. That I'm like, fuck it, I don't care. But they've issued some better looking compilations since then. From Obscurity is a cool looking compilation.
Yeah, there was a band. There was a couple bands I sent to you guys from this list. There was a band called Mago Gatho. That I only found one song. There's a demo, but there's only one song on YouTube, and I really like that that album art. It's just like those red kind of mound bubble looking things. It's groovy. It's Finnish it's just awesome. What else was there? There was Endermic. I think I sent that to you guys. It's almost like Amorphous style from their second album, but kind of like a little bit more death metal-y. It's perfect. It's exactly what I'm looking for in Finnish death metal. I think I sent that one to you guys. I think I sent this one too. Halocatus. It's like death thrash, techie kind of stuff. It's cool.
Yeah, I think you did send it. I didn't get a chance to listen
And
to
then
it.
I was reintroduced to that weird little side band that Zizma did in '90 called Muarame. I think it's Muarame, something like that. Paul, I think you might have shown me this. Remember, it's that 5-minute demo where they're playing like punk songs, and the guy's like la 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 la.
Oh yeah.
La, 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 la. He's singing like really low and like soft. It's very and it's like this kind of thrash punk stuff. It's really interesting. And then there was this other band that I checked out because what's his name? Let's see. Let me look for this comment by here he is. No. It was on the Miasma upload. I think Burst of GameCube left a interesting comment.
Oh, about the vocals?
No, that was Shannon. No, he says don't know what these guys were tapping into in Austria of all places. Sounds more like Funebre or Agonize than anything coming out of Austria at the time. And I was curious. I'm like, what the fuck was coming out of Austria in 1990? Like death metal wise, I couldn't. I did an advanced search. I did a little scouring and I found something pretty cool. I think you guys might have seen that I posted it. I sent it to you guys. It was called Scent of Paradise. It was one with the frowny face on it. I don't know if you saw that or not.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is perfect. They have one demo in I think '93. It's like it says Death Doom, but it's not. Like it's death metal with melodic parts and doomy parts, and neither of those things are the focal point. It's just death metal with those parts. It's perfect. It's a perfect, beautiful fucking release. Would urge anybody to check out that Scent of Paradise. I think they're from Austria. Either from Austria or Poland. And then that band became a band called Pathetic, and I briefly checked that out. That seemed kind of cool. Yeah, and that's what I've been listening to. Well, mainly over the weekend, kind of into the week a little bit.
I've still been digging into the Canadian black metal scene and trying to get some of the more obscure ones. Yeah, there's a Quebecois band called Ancreg. It's a bit weird to spell, and I don't remember how to do it. A-N-H... There we go. ANHKREHG. And I used to have a copy of their second album from 2000, Lands of War. And I found someone who was willing to part with their copy for cheap, so that's back on its way here. But I want to find a copy of their first album, which translates to The Lie of Masada, because I just want it. I haven't spent a whole lot of time listening to it, but it sounds pretty cool.
Cool. There's some GameCube, actually. Or what were you going to say, Paulus?
I was gonna say I just been on the hunt. I think I talked to Dan about it. just trying to find bands that sound like Total Vernic Tongue and the Satanic War Master Core bands, and then just
we got to some of them, Fred. What?
and then one that was forgot about was Infamous from Italy.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
really
that was
good. I was just listening to
forgot they did a split with fucking
Cromlech. Yeah.
Yeah.
I checked out the 3 albums. There was one from like 2019 or something, or 2020 I need to check out. But yeah, that was a good band to find again. And Burzum GameCube uploaded that actually. So, what were you saying about him?
Oh, he left another comment on the Hades episode. He says, must have listened to this around the same time you guys did, albeit mine was for the first time. Always remember these guys being mentioned in the same breath as Mortem, and I saw Anal Vomit cover them, so I finally delved into this. Great unsettling stuff, much less a riffs band than Mortem, and more atmospheric. And then he says Millennium, Nocturne, Hades is also incredible. Yeah. I realized too, Anal Vomit is not a Black Death thrash band, they're just a thrash band. But they play crazy. The riffs sound like destruction. That's all I'm saying.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong at all.
Yeah, and I should be having a pretty good mail day next week. I went a little crazy, so.
Yeah,
Ooh.
with what?
Well, you'll find out next week.
All right, I guess we'll find out next week.
Ooh.
But
Last thing I had on my my notes here was I saw somebody I follow on the Bunsen. Actually, it was a guy from Lecherous, who still have not got back to me, but maybe that's because they were at MDF, and he posted something. He's like, if you only go to local shows, you're a pussy. Come out to MDF. It's like, well, I think I'm good. I think I'll just be a pussy. Because I see these videos that people are posting, and it's like, so I'm going to travel to Maryland. I get it, see bands, but there's something about, like, standing all day that really bums me out. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I like to see a band, or 2, or 3, or 4 for the night. Make it a night. I don't know, man. I don't feel like spending all this money, and, like, I'm not a party guy. I'm not a socialite. I don't have all these, could you socialites do this show?
No.
Probably not. I've heard you, I see what you people do when you're out with your friends. I hear what you say. You're not, it's nothing. It's dribble. It's even worse dribble than we're dribbling.
Yeah.
So don't you socialites get me started. Really. I mean, please. I will stick to going to a show sometimes when it's a band I feel like. How about that?
Yep.
It's not like nobody gives a shit, but nobody gives a shit. But at the same time, people like want to make you think that they give a shit, or they think that like people give a shit about them. But I think that's not the case.
I give partial shits. I think that's reasonable.
Look, this is a bit of advice. This is kind of out of nowhere, but this is just a bit of advice. 3 simple rules you can live by. Number 1, try your best. Number 2, what was the other thing? What the hell was the other thing? I forgot. There's like 3 simple rules. I forgot the second thing.
Well, number 4.
No.
Don't forget number 2.
No, yeah. Rule number, yeah. That fat kid from Joe Dirt's like, so you don't know rule 3? It's like, what? Do your best. I know what rule 3 was. Rule 3 was don't take life too seriously. All right, pal. And number 2 was, yeah, what the hell was number 2? I'll have to, here we go. Fucking, number 2 is, onset dementia.
Oh, all right. That was honest.
I can't remember what the second one was. I had it in my head. I can't remember what it
Number
was.
2. Go number 2 before you go anywhere.
That's true. Yeah, before you go to a show, have a nice diarrhea.
That's all right.
All right. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, I'm ready for a break, and maybe I'll think of what Rule 2 was.
Sounds good to me.
Works for me.
Okay.
All right, break.
Okay.
Welcome to the Bunsen Burner Podcast.
All right, we're back from the break.
What was that you were gargling? Your fucking chocolate vanilla water?
Yep.
Okay. Delicious.
It's not chocolate water.
It's vanilla
It's-
water. Sorry.
It's vanilla cherry soda water.
Sounds yummy, Frexy.
I like it. Keeps me fresh.
Yeah, Fred's fresh. What about it? Yeah, we were discussing markets here in the California and markets in fucking pharmacies in Canada, and it was just trippy to me that Fred never heard of our markets and shit.
Yeah.
And Randy's Donuts. I think Randy's Donuts may just be an LA thing. I'm not sure. I've actually never been to Randy's Donuts. I see it, the giant donut everywhere. Like I was telling Fred, that's where Bernie. That was from the first episode of Bernie Mac, where he has the kids, and when he first gets the kids from the airport, he goes, "Hey, look at that big ass donut," and then he's like, "Man, I should have got me a big ass chocolate milk." And then like the child services comes, and they're like, "Are you cursing around these kids?" You go, "I never hit these kids. I never curse around no kids." And he's like reading from his notebook. He goes, "So you didn't say big ass donut?" And he goes, "Who told you that?"
So there's quite a few. There's some in, all over California, and then Vegas,
Randy's Donuts.
New Mexico, and Arizona, and Georgia. Yep.
What about Winchell's, Fred? You ever heard of that?
No.
That's a donut place.
By the
What
sound
about
of
Krispy
his,
Kreme?
That we have.
I was gonna
You
say,
have Krispy Kreme.
by the sound
Yes.
of your drug stores, it's probably just called like donuts. Over in,
It's probably called like Yummy Frosted Glazed Donut Land.
Donut store.
What was the pharmacy you said? The General. What did you say?
drugstore.
Shoppers Drug Mart.
Shoppers
Mart.
Drug Mart.
It's like the worst name, I swear.
How about
No, the,
Shoppers? How about Shoppers come get a Yum Yum donut? Oh, that's one. Yum Yum Donuts is a place. You ever heard of that?
No.
Yeah, Yum Yum Donuts.
Our see, like whatever the U.S. has like dozens of chains of, we have like 1 to 3 max. So like, if you want donuts, you go to Tim Hortons. That's basically it.
Horton, here's a donut. Was that funny? Did I make it funny?
That was way funnier than it should have been.
I remember what tip number 2 was. Life tips. Tip number 2 was have some fun.
So what was all three in sequence?
All 3 was do your best, have some fun, don't take life too seriously, brothers. Sirs. So all the sirs out there and all the beautiful honey buns out there listening, I know you're there. Love you, babe.
So why the fuck are we here?
Dan pick. Dan picks.
Sound the alarms. Damn
God.
it.
Here we go. Why do we keep letting them pick things?
It's a rotation, fairness.
Haven't we learned our lessons yet?
Before we jump right into that, I had a couple short little things to say. I was going to bring this up at the beginning of the show. I was just watching
Dan's
that
short
fella
things.
Garza. What?
Said Dan's short things.
Short thing. Yeah, I was watching that fucking Garza podcast, and he was interviewing Kevin. What the hell is his name?
Kevin.
Kevin Cavill or something?
Just Kevin.
No, what the fuck is his name? Is it Kevin Cavill? The guy from Warbringer, the vocalist from Warbringer.
Oh, I have no idea.
Well, War Without End, that was a great album. I don't know if you were into the thrash boom at the time, but War Without End. You should go back to it. I should go back to it. Oh, John Cavill. I said Kevin Cavill. John Cavill. I think I was just kind of enjoying that. I feel like that's something good and like I don't have to think too much. It's just something nice to listen to sometimes. I get a kick out of interviews and hearing stories like from the beginning and all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it's just me and like I'm out of the loop, but it seems like there should be right now, but it seems to me like there isn't a whole abundance of metal interview content on YouTube. Is it just me? I feel like there's not a whole lot of that. There's some, but not nearly as much as I kind of wish there was.
I don't look for it, so I wouldn't really know.
I don't really look for it either.
Well, I think there's like Cali Death podcast that does quite a few.
Oh yeah? I wonder if that's any good.
Yeah, they do like a ton of ones. They have one with Devourman, Goratory, Regurgitating Oblivion.
Gortuary, you mean?
No, Goratory.
Who the fuck is that?
Another death metal band. They got
Goratory.
Vehemence. Yeah, they got a ton. The 100 and almost
Ingurgitating Oblivion. Black metal guy just mentioned them.
Yeah, about 200 episodes of just interviews. There's
Gorgasm. That's interesting. I like Gorgasm.
Fermentor too.
Oh, you know what? All right, I'm gonna check this out. You like Gorgasm? I imagine you would, right? We never talked about them before.
Yeah, they're good.
They're good. Yeah, I'll listen to their shit this weekend. Other thing I wanted to get to, as always, after the break, thumbnail explanation. What is on the thumbnail?
Ooh.
So that is, those are characters from weeblestuff.com. I don't think that many people know what that is. You guys have any idea what Weeble Stuff is?
I really don't.
It was one of those websites where artists would kind of upload their own cartoons, or it's either one guy or like a few guys that did different things. It's kind of like Stick Death or like Joe Cartoon or like Albino Black Sheep, Homestar Runner. In that vein, it's that kind of stuff from the early 2000s era of the internet. Weeble Stuff. Yeah, that's the Moon King. He's a piece of toast, and the other guy on the bike, that's the guy from the Strawberry Pancakes video. And Strawberry Pancakes was one of my favorite ones. It was just a looping. I think I sent it to the other group at one point. It's just like this looping video where a few things happen. It's a guy riding a girl's bike and he's singing a song. Strawberry pancakes, don't make me wait for it. Strawberry pancakes, I'm coming for you. And I'm riding my bike into town. So guy's riding a girl's bike into town, and he's singing about riding a girl's bike. And then the next thing he goes, "Give me your pancakes!" And it shows him pointing a gun at a guy with strawberry pancakes, and he shoots him in the face. And each time he rides by, the population of the town goes down by 1. And it just loops for a long time. So yeah, Strawberry Pancakes. You can still find that on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm looking at Weeble Stuff, and for some reason Brian May from Queen comes up. Maybe
he's the guy who
one of the Badgers. I don't know. I guess he has something to do with that.
Mm-hmm. That's probably the most famous one from that website. If people would remember, Badgers. That's where it came from. It came from Weeble Stuff. Remember that, Fred? Badgers, 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 mushroom, mushroom.
That is one of the best internet things ever made.
Yes, that came from Weeble Stuff. So that's that website's claim to fame, I suppose.
Remember Hamster Dance?
Come on, everybody, it's a hamster dance.
That's the one.
Yes, somebody had like I think my next door neighbor had a Disney DVD thing. It was like music videos for the Disney radio or something, and that was one of the music videos. The hamster dance. And I thought it's still hilarious, and it's just fun. The hamster dance is just great. Hamster dance supremacy.
What's
Fred,
not to like about it?
and that's Fred's intro song for this episode.
Hell yeah.
Well,
Hampton Hamster?
and then we'll exit with Crazy Frog or something.
No, we're exiting with Badger. The Badger, mushroom.
There's another one from that website. It was called Magic
Mushroom.
I don't think anybody ever saw that, though. It's kinda-
And
kinda
we've
fun.
got a snake, a snake. Oh, it's a snake. It's a badger.
Canadians getting carried away with badgers.
Oh, yeah. How could you not?
Just taking a bite
Anyways.
of my lean cuisine ziti here. What, no fucking ziti? So yeah. Okay, now we get to jump in, I suppose. Okay.
Yeah.
So as you guys can see, we got a double feature tonight.
Ooh.
Two unrelated bands. Well, they're both death metal bands, and they're both from the '90s.
They both exist.
They both exist. Paul, I didn't really think of this at the time, but Paul asked me when I gave him these. He's like, "What's the connection?" I'm like, "Well, I guess they're both releases are not necessarily weird or out there like they usually are on this show. They are they're not like Progenitors is the first band to do it. These are just bands that exist within their subgenres and do a very solid job at it. And I think that these are both releases that I've been coming back to often. Well, the latter more than the other one, but yeah, these are like on my just comeback list of good stuff. I think these are classics to me, and maybe they'll be classics to you. I suppose we'll see how that goes. Yeah, first one we have is Disgorged with Thy Hideous Wake. I believe that comes out in '93 from Rochester, New York. I have to type this in real quick. Yeah, Thy Hideous Wake, Rochester. Paul actually introduced me to their their post band before I found this one, Withered Earth. Yeah, we briefly talked about this on some episode sometime back. I'm not exactly sure when. Might have been like the ceremonial torture episode or something. But I had just discovered Thy Hideous Wake. I was like, this is fucking cool. This is brutal. This is badass. And I kind of rediscovered this in the past, maybe a couple months. I think it just kind of does everything I want a death metal release to do. It's got like sort of maze-like quality riffs. It's slimy. It's brutal. It's and it's also kind of like sporadically fast in certain spots. I guess we can get into the nitty gritty in a little bit. Yeah, this is pretty much a newer discovery for me, and yeah, one of the better ones, I think. Fred, you already kind of gave it away that you liked this one better than the second pick. So what do you make of this one? Have you heard it before? What's the deal here, pal?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be particularly surprised that I preferred this over In Thy Dreams. Not that I disliked
Really?
In Thy Dreams, but this is much more...
I was slightly surprised. I didn't realize... Well, yeah,
Really?
we'll get to that later. We'll get to the disliking later. Let's get to the liking now. Like, please!
No, I'd been familiar with the Hideous Wake EP for a while, but I really only got to spend a lot of time with it when CDN Records reissued basically everything they've released.
Hail CDN! Hail our people!
Yeah, they did a good job with it too. But they reissued the albums. The release is called Complete Discography, as I'm looking at it right now, so it kind of says it all. Everything they did, their demos, and even the Phantasmagoria stuff, which is kind of cool. You don't hear that too often. But even with the demos and all that, the best stuff on there is the Hideous Wake EP. It's such a good EP. The track that I picked is, I guess it's my favorite on there, but all four are great. It's brutal death metal, but also like very much rooted in regular American death metal. Like, I still hear a lot of incantation in this, even though everyone's gonna say like suffocation or internal bleeding, but
Or Cannibal Corpse.
yeah. And you know what? These even one track, not the one I picked. I don't know which one you're gonna go for, but on the third track, "Infesting the Nest of Incubation," the opening bit to that reminds me a lot of "Seance" on Salt Rubbed Eyes, which is kind of a weird little comparison, but yeah, I mean, like in terms of originality, I don't think there's a ton of it on this. It's just very, very well executed.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'm fine with that. I don't need, and usually don't want a ton of originality. I just want something well fucking done.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, there's a ton of there's a lot of groove on this thing in lots of interesting ways.
Yeah, it's surprisingly a lot. It, I got the impression when I first started listening to it that it would not be as groovy as it is, but there's some catchy hooks in there.
Well, I think the production sort of helps it a lot in
Yeah.
in the sense that like it probably is pretty thrashy and like way closer to like normal death metal, because when I first heard this, I'm like God, this is really fucking brutal for 93. It's almost like impressive to me that it came out in 93. The more I listen to it, the more it becomes a little bit more like in tune with what else was going on. It's not the most brutal. It's not the most like you already said, it ain't the most original, but yeah, there's something about that production job that helps this like kind of maze-like music become more of something that we would be familiar with in brutal death, which is like texture, which is like sort of feeling and groove rather than riffs themselves, if that makes sense. Because the way the production is, the guitar does not stand out in ways where riffs are super distinguishable. You know, you can kind of just you can hear like the sonic, like the waves more than you can the actual instrumentation, and the bass helps with that a lot too.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, what do you make of this thing, Paul? How familiar are you with it, and what's up with that?
Well, I checked these guys out a little while ago when I was getting back into brutal death metal and stuff, so I was checking out all the Disgorged bands from like
New York death metal?
just like from California and then Mexico, and then there's a Swedish Disgorged too.
Yeah.
And then this one also popped up, but this is the past tense Disgorged, and like you said, I was a little bit more familiar with the band coming after and how weird that one sort of gets, and then listening back to their sort of roots, it sounds like there's little bits and pieces of that in there, like little inklings of ideas that go into their next band, Withered Earth, and more often than not, they're just kind of straight down the line death metal, but like you said, the production is like not like a crutch, but like a it really helps it a lot.
It gives it its atmosphere.
Yeah, because like when I was going in between listening to this and the next record that we're gonna talk about, it was just like night and day with like how it felt listening to it. Like one's really bright and clean, and then the other one's just kind of like murky and disgusting.
Yeah, this one you need headphones. The other one you can kind of just listen to on your phone speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
But like you guys were mentioning, it just being more and more like streamlined around what was going on with them with like contemporary bands, and nothing really groundbreaking or new, but I think that just the way that they did it was like Fred said, well done. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about this release right now until we get into the songs.
I just want to mention the drummer of this band is in. He did live stuff and like session stuff for quite a few things.
Yeah, Mortician and Incantation and stuff like that, right?
Pyrexia, Suffocation. Yeah.
He's all over the
So
New York death
these
metal
guys
scene.
are hard hitters.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I don't think the instrumentation here is really any slouch either. Like it is what a death metal band should be. It is guys who are practiced and guys who are sort of like ready to go above and beyond with this release. Like it's so to me it kind of feels far above some of the instrumentation that like this may sound weird to say, but like Incantation or like Malevolent Creation too, it seems like their skill level is I don't want to say better, but it seems more. They seem to like understand where they want to go with it, in a more.
You're saying Disgorged doesn't, or they do?
I'm saying they do.
Okay.
They seem to know where they want to be in as far as like technicality goes, but while staying in this kind of pretty bleak area where not to do anything too experimental. Like there's something admirable about that, you know, where it's like, oh, you know, there's all these bands, you can do all these ideas, but it's like it's 93, it's kind of feeling like the end of death metal for a lot of people, but it's it kind of sticks within the parameters of what dirty rotten death metal is, and it's still pretty it's still pretty tricky. Like if you listen to the music, there's nothing really simplistic about it. I mean, I feel like in certain ways you could compare this to something like Mortician, but Mortician is way more stripped down, where this is probably going to take some time to write and to learn, and you know it's there's just more to it with all the instruments, especially the drums too.
Yeah, I'll just say cool logo too.
Yeah, very cool logo.
Yeah.
And cool band name and cool artwork. The music sounds like what the artwork looks like, a slimy.
It really
green
does.
corpse.
And it's just like slightly blurry, and it kind of works. Because so is the production.
The new, like, I guess reissue, or you know, compiling everything into this CD release. It kind of looks like the artwork on there looks like Tony Soprano behind the logo, like as a zombie or something.
On the
Oh,
comp.
which one?
Yeah, I think it's a comp. Let's see. Because I was just trying to look for timestamps, and then I see that it's there, the bottom.
on YouTube.
Yeah.
Let me see.
Oh, is it like the red one with the guy hovering
Oh,
in the
that does
background?
look like Tony.
Unspeakable Revive.
Yeah.
That release. I guess it's a split or compilation between them and Withered Earth. So. But yeah, it looks a bit like Tony Soprano.
It kind of does.
Yeah, you guys want to get into it then?
Yes.
I think so.
What track did Fred want?
I was going for Cultivation of Ferocious Decay.
Okay, that starts at 3 minutes. I'm on Gruesome Apparition.
All right, we'll be right
I'm not
back.
on anything.
All right, we're back.
It was cool.
What a smoker.
Yeah, I think the theme that you came up with after I asked you of bands not really venturing off or being progenitors of anything. This is just really good. Like listening to the track, it was just like Headbang City, especially when they're doing that slow down riff towards the end where they had different drum fills, beats.
Each count.
Yeah, each count. It was
Yeah.
just a really good riff too. Kind of Mortician esque in that way, like you mentioned too.
That's what I had written down.
Up until the end.
Yeah, and then all the way up to that point, there was several grooves that were going on that would just go on for maybe not even a full 4 count or something, and then they would switch into something like really fast or like do like that really quick like cymbal choke thing, like kind of like a fucking circus thing. But I think that those groove parts get like expanded much more into the band afterwards. So that's kind of like what I was talking about with like the inklings of these ideas going on during this release. But yeah, solid track. Like I was just like feeling the music, headbanging, and it was just a good solid track. There's nothing to add, nothing to subtract from it. It's just good.
Yeah, I just love the transitions throughout the tracks, or just throughout the track. It starts off with this ridiculously heavy Mortician riff, and then kind of blindsides you into this like weird death and roll kind of groove riff, and then like some doomy incantation, skronky sort of riffing that kind of just like roils around before going back to the Mortician shit later on.
Yeah, I think I was telling you guys, I was like, I like when brutal death metal bands kind of go in that like slow tempo territory rather than going into slam, but like halfway through they're doing some chugs and stuff.
The last half is a slam. The first half is like
just holding the chords out
riff.
and stuff. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
really cool. Vocals,
noticed
Chris
too-
Barnes too. So
What's
can't get
that?
enough. Vocals are like Chris Barnes too. So
Yeah.
can't get enough of that, especially that era.
Yeah, it didn't dawn on me when I listened to this before this week, but listening to the first song, I'm like, this is super Cannibal Corpse, isn't it? In certain ways, like they there's a lot of things that Cannibal Corpse does that these guys don't.
Yeah,
But
this is like
these guys
Tomb.
kind of just stick with the grooviest, weirdest, slammy parts that Cannibal Corpse used to do.
Yeah, Butchered and Tomb for sure. So
Yeah. I noticed too that like intro riffs, like sort of don't come back. They like change as the band comes in. They'll do like an intro riff with like a tail end, and then when the full band comes in, it's like a different tail end.
Yeah.
Which is like,
it's
it's
just
really
good
sophisticated.
songwriting.
Yeah, it is. It's something you have to think about. It's not just, we're in a death metal band, let's write a death metal riff. It's like, no, this is a death metal band. We are going to write death metal, but we're going to keep you on your toes, and we're going to keep ourselves sort of ready to just like change at any time.
Yeah, it's just like no
Well,
no rules to it. They just go. They don't take the easy route where you could just do repetitions of that riff, but adding new little tail ends or even different versions of like note selection or even the timing that you hit the notes is like something that
Yeah.
you only see in like metal, really.
Or even they'll change things. Like if the riff stays the same, the drums will do something different. Like I don't know if I pointed it out to you, Paul, that there was a part where every tail end of the riff, the drums, each 4 count was something different. It starts off with like a roll, and then it goes into like
It's like
"Doo-da-da."
yeah,
and then it does-
goes Slayer
There's a
beat.
thrash beat. It's like and then and then like it's so cool.
Yeah,
Well, it makes the songwriting more linear, right? Like it goes in one direction, doesn't necessarily double back onto itself, or at least never completely, which I think is more challenging, but at the same time, it gives it more of a journey rather than just winding up where you started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
that's why it's so great.
I particularly like that in like drumming, where the fills are supposed to be the different things that you do, during a riff. But I like when those fills are um, filled up with actual like beats or something to have like it to be a different tail end, like having just the blast beat at the end or the thrash beat is just like I like hearing that versus like a drum fill or something that's like there's something more, I don't know, like worksman like to that for my taste versus like someone who can do incredible fills or something. Like it sounds cool, but like this seems like something that could be replicated like in a something to take influence from, because I tend to do that too.
When people talk about stuff like this, sometimes they'll say like, "Oh, this is primitive. This is caveman knuckle dragging," almost like it's stupid or like you're a dum dum for writing this stuff. Like I've heard people say that about Pyrexia, Sermon of Mockery. I don't remember
Really?
exactly how. Yeah, I've
What's
heard
wrong
that.
with people? What's wrong with people?
Well, I think they're trying to say like this is caveman death metal in a way. I think on the surface, sure, but if you're actually listening to it, I don't think most of you people could write anything close to this.
Yeah, I think the closest to that description is maybe like artery eruption.
Yeah, artery eruption,
That
maybe
that is
mortician.
caveman.
Yeah, but I'll say like just the blasting in here. It's a Euro blast, and it just sounds so like perfectly produced. So you can hear like the cymbal, the kick, the snare, just like all in the same mix, or mixed at the same level, and it just sounds like so great over the riffing here. Because most times they'll do like a bomb blast or something like that, but you can actually hear the articulation of like the cymbals and the snare and shit. So it's really good.
This to me is like just a perfect 1993 death metal EP. It does everything so perfectly. It's not like some later brutal death. Like I get it. Something like fucking like Enmity or something, where it's like, yeah, go, well, maybe not even them, but like certain bands that just go fast forever, and like you kind of can't tell what's changing because the drums kind of don't. This kind of just it scratches the itch perfectly. It does everything I want it to. There's not that much blasting on it, I don't think.
Yeah, it's not like ambient drumming or anything. It's definitely fitting to the riffs, which is what I like. But everything has its own place. But
This is something to come back to.
yeah,
And one last thing I'll say about this track too. There's two layers of similar vocal styles,
oh,
and it just sounds really cool.
even when they layered with like the higher vocal too, that was a spit in the face to Glenn Benton. That sounded really good.
Yeah.
Well, it's like I love that the vocalist here doesn't sound like he's trying too hard, which is cool. He's doing a very muffled grunt, like lazy thing. I like that.
But it works.
In contrast to the music, where the music is taking so much. They're like taking their what's even the word? They're like taking their time with everything, kind of. they're very meticulous, while the vocals maybe don't have to be. But hey, maybe
Yeah.
I'm missing something about that too. I think that's what I always liked about Cannibal Corpse-ish type vocals is maybe it's kind of dumb, but maybe it's kind of genius.
Yeah,
Especially the finished stuff too. It's gross and it's smart and it's metal as fuck.
yeah, and it's like more of like the textural sounding versus like later Cannibal or even Chris Barnes and like Bleeding, where everything's like very pronounced and stuff like that. It's more taking it seriously versus like being like a part of the soundscape, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a place for this certain type of death metal because there's like this seems very niche in a way to me. It's like the earliest form of brutal death that is still kind of in its infancy.
Yeah.
That
When you compare it to what brutal death metal would become, especially today, it doesn't compare to it. It's not even close.
Yeah, because this is even a precursor to like super death metal bands too.
Yeah, you know what? I'm looking at this fucking similar artist list. I honestly don't agree with it. Something that I think I brought up on the show before that's like maybe something similar, or like one of the closest things I can think of is Gutted Pulp. Are you familiar with that band, Fred?
So, which one?
Gutted Pulp.
I don't think so.
They
Really
have a
nasty shit.
It is nasty. They have a demo in '92. It's called Swollen Contusion. Oh, I was gonna say Phlegm, but no, Phlegm's more like grindcore-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're pretty grindy.
Grotesque Infection. No, that's a little more grindy too. Immortal Fate actually might be something kind of similar to this.
Real swampy.
Immortal
Yeah.
Fate were pretty grindy too, though.
Yeah, but there's like certain areas of it where it's like just totally nasty. Oh, I know who fucking fits this perfectly. Band called Afterbirth, not the Afterbirth that everybody knows, but the other one. That is probably one of the closer things I can think of too. I think Fred, you might know who this is. I think they're related to that band Sephiroth. I think.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you mean.
Are they related to Sephiroth? No, they're
No,
not.
no, Afterbirth.
Is this the one clone recurrences?
Yes, cloned reoccurrences. I've talked to you about that before, right, Paul? I'm sure I brought this up before.
I don't think so, but I
Really?
just looked
Oh.
them up. So
Okay, yeah, everyone check out the other Afterbirth, cloned reoccurrences. That and Gutted Pulp might be like some of the closest, nastiest, like groovy, slowish.
I guess these guys have ties with Crucifier actually.
Oh shit, I guess they do. Interesting. Okay, so these guys aren't totally nobodies. Cool. I didn't know that. Well, he did like the bass player was on a demo, and the guitar
counts.
player was on. What was he on? He was on the demo too, the '91 demo. So they only did that.
R.I.P. Mike Machete.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a few other bands like this. I think maybe Agonize from Finland kind of comes close. Maybe.
I always saw Agonize more like in line with like Belial.
Really,
Yeah.
I always saw them more slimier. It's more slimier.
It's more of a slime to it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what do you say we listen to one more track and see what we can pull from that?
Yep.
Yeah,
I did
which
want to
one's
say one thing I forgot here. There was a little new metal thing that they did. It was almost not even a riff. It was like boom, bang, boom, bang,
Oh yeah.
what the fuck was that?
Huh.
Okay.
What's the next
I guess I'll
track?
go with the last track.
The Wretch Erupts Insectus.
All right.
Is that the name of the damn thing?
I think so.
Yes, it is.
All right. We'll be right back. Made it through that one, guys.
Ooh, just barely.
When I got back, when I went out to the bathroom, my dad was watching Pee-wee's Playhouse.
It's random.
There was a section here. I want to find it real quick. I think it was right after that Doomy section you were talking about, Paul.
You said had like melodic parts in it, right?
Yeah. Watch. Go to 15 minutes, real quick. And listen.
15 on the dot?
Yeah. Watch, listen to that. Listen for some melody.
Oh yeah, I heard this.
You hear that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like all pinches, or like there was
No, it
like
wasn't.
some
It was
lines.
like... There were pinches, but in between that, there was like a nice little scale.
Yeah.
It doesn't last long, but it's there.
No, it doesn't. That was like the only section of the song where there is melodic guitar, like kind of finished sounding, not quite pretty or like beautiful sounding melodic guitar, but more like the dirgy kind of sentence or pertinence type moments. Very, very subtly. That guitar is so quiet back there.
Yeah, and also the beginning of this track just straight sounded Finnish. The way that they were going about that sort of groove with the, the stop-start blasting
Yeah.
was really good.
The beginning groove kind of reminded me of that Carcass song, Ruptured and Purulence, where it's like... You know what I'm talking about? Kind of did that thing where it's like riff, the guitar cuts out, the drums keep playing that beat.
Oh yeah, it did that, and then it stopped, and it was doing like a hi-hat sort of thing too, like just keeping the count there.
Well, there was one riff in particular. It almost seemed like the main riff in that song. It was like an ascending kind of thing. It was like I don't know if you remember that thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just neat.
Yeah, and again another slow down that isn't a slam. That's just like gives it much more depth to it than
This
being like so immediate, like what like Chugs would do.
This song seems a lot different than the other one that we listened to. Like, the other one was way slammier and way, like, in one mode.
Yeah.
This song seemed to... This song is, like, fucking proggy. Seriously.
Yeah, this is like
This is
the
like
Withered Earth
this is
stuff.
like Confessor proggy.
Yeah, this is
It's
where they
kind of
go
crazy.
with the next band or rendition of this band. But I think a lot of that intro riff was they were just like holding on to that section for a while, doing the stop-start blasting, and then just doing sort of different iterations on it. It kind of went on for
Who's fooling around with their microphone?
kind of went on
that was
for
me.
a while. Like it didn't like lose any. They just had a lot of mileage for that section, but it didn't feel like it overstayed because they were changing it so often that it was just like, okay, let's see what else they can do with this versus like, all right, get over with it already.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Like, on all their tracks, they just change things so frequently that it doesn't get boring ever. Even though the whole thing's like 17 minutes long, it doesn't give a whole lot of time to get boring, but, like, they don't, and nothing overstays its welcome.
Fred sounds different. It sounds like he's talking into the toilet.
That's Frexy.
Is this better?
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounded like you were talking into like a fucking tunnel.
No, I'd moved away a little bit.
Okay. Oh, damn. Now you're right up in there. I got to turn it down a little bit.
Fred, stay close.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Yeah, that song
Very
probably
long,
has
too.
the most variation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense that they kept it for the last track.
Did I interrupt you, Paul? Were you going to say something?
No, I just said it was very long too, longer than the other ones.
Yeah. And it's kind of crazy. Like, I thought of this as like, old brutal death metal EP, and that's what it sort of comes off as. But honestly, listening to this song, like I said, it's really, really proggy. If the first one was in a way that like sort of keeps the gross death metal thing going, okay, good on them. This one keeps that, but it also adds more to it. It like remains mysterious the way death metal should, and brutal like simultaneously. It's really, really good stuff.
Yeah, if you want more of that, listen to Withered Earth more.
Okay. For whatever reason, this song in particular too, it kind of reminds me of Rotting from Canada.
Hmm.
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
how similar the two are, but I definitely I hear something there.
Yeah, no, I could see that. The Rotting album sounded a lot cleaner than this, but I see what you mean in terms of the riffing, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the riffing.
In parts, not all of it, but in parts.
No. Yeah, dude. This is I don't know how I guess this is pretty underground, right? But maybe not too much. I see this as a lesser known classic. I think it's just really good, and I think it deserves a revisit. It's worth it.
Yep,
It's
agreed.
super worth it. This little EP is the shit, and it needs some dissection, and it needs some. Learn something. Learn something, dudes. I think some people have learned things from this. I feel like, yeah.
I hope so. We pulled some shit out of our asses that you wouldn't believe.
Are we gonna talk about it as a whole later or right now?
Let's just do it now.
All right, Fred, go.
Blah.
I kind of had my thoughts, but if you guys
Yeah,
have
go for
anything
it.
else to say, no, I mean that was my thoughts.
Oh,
if
damn
you
it.
guys have anything else to add, go for it.
You can
No,
speak for us.
I would. No, no, I'd just say this. Like I said before, it's nothing super, super original, just really well executed. Produced just right to have that, like, grimy, gross death metal sound that you want, but without suffocating it. You can still hear things pretty clearly.
Secretly Prague.
Yeah. No, great EP. It is underappreciated, so I think this will give it some good attention.
I think it's a really good. Just
Don't say
EP.
the same thing Fred said.
No, just
Yeah,
really,
come on.
really good.
Think up your own shit. Come on.
Fred said, "I think it's a really good EP." Paul goes, "I think it's a really good E EP."
I think
No,
it's pretty good.
It is though. It's like I was saying when we were listening to
But
that
it's
second
really
track.
good.
It was not anything
Disgorged.
extraordinary, but it was, I was enjoying it thoroughly, and I wouldn't add or subtract anything to it. And where this band went after this is more up my alley, but I always have time for stuff like this too. So it's just nice to hear that they had a solid foundation underneath them to go into a more experimental realm. So good pick on this one.
Just added Withered Earth into the playlist, so we'll be listening to that.
Re-added, eh?
Yes. It was, but now it's back at the top.
Good boy.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, God.
Dan got greedy. He picked 2. So
Yeah, I did.
let's get into the next one.
Yeah, so now for something completely different.
Monty Python.
Here is In Thy Dreams, stream of Dispraised Souls. This is an EP from '97 from Sweden, Sala, Sweden. I don't think this band has any members in anything else worth mentioning. I see some other stuff, but nothing I'm familiar with. I see a band called Ghoul House. Is that shit? That looks stupid.
I don't remember who's in this band.
In what? In Ghoul House?
No, in Thy Dreams. Oh, Carnal Forge was fairly well known. Wasn't really my thing, but
Yeah, I see that Carnal Forge has a bunch of albums, but I've never fucking heard of it, and I can't imagine who's listening to this stuff. Isn't that a shame? Where it's like you're in, especially look at this genre tag. I feel like it's special for this genre tag: melodic death, groove, thrash. Been around since '98. Have been consistently putting out albums this whole time, and it has some reviews, but they're mostly bad. Well, not all of them. Some of them are okay.
oh, here, look, there's one guy,
Interesting.
Thomas Lindfors. He did the vocals from '98 to 2000. He did the vocals on Internal Caustic Torments, which is a fucking awesome album.
Or am I thinking
That's
of
about
something else? Wait, that's the vocalist of In Thy Dreams?
At some point, yeah.
Oh, okay. Not... Well, when the fuck was that then? Because he's not on any of the main things.
It says '98 to 2000.
Okay.
So he should have been on the first album, Gates of Pleasure. but
Anyways,
oh yeah, look
yeah.
here it is. Hakan Stuvemark.
Hakatui.
Is that him? Am I stupid?
I don't know, Bobby.
Of course not,
Because
Fred.
the main guy from whatever. Who cares? In Their Dreams. Let's go.
Anyways, yeah, In Thy Dreams. This one I've been listening to forever. I liked this in high school. I think I was already immersed in general death metal by the time I found out about the melodic death metal type stuff. Like not the more popular stuff, but the At the Gates, Dark Tranquility, early shit, early In Flames, Cantor's Quintet, Blaze My Sorrow, all that crap. I discovered this stuff a little bit after I was already immersed within American, Finnish, Swedish death metal, and I really like the idea that this is stuff that is closer to like quote unquote true metal than a lot of the stuff that I was already familiar with melodic death metal wise, like Children of Bodom and shit. Yeah, I really like this little subgenre or this little like niche of mostly Swedish melodic death metal. It seems very. I feel like with stuff like this, there's kind of not a lot to complain about with as far as like this band's lame, this band is too popular for so and so reason, and especially with this EP, I feel like this EP is probably one of the most pure melodic death metal releases that there is, as far as like aesthetic that I think is cool and sound that I think is cool, and like band name, title, everything about it to me is like the quintessential like amalgamation of what melodic death metal is in a very compact form. I mean, it has tiny little like intros and things that don't get boring at all. It's what I like too is like this stuff is aggressive, but it's also like really kind of pretty and flowery. But yeah, I like it. I think it's a classic to me. Um, Paul knew this when I mentioned it. He's like the purple one, the purple album. I don't recall if Paul was a fan of this, or exactly. I don't know Paul's feelings about certain other like melodic death metal things. I know he likes maybe like a Blaze My Sorrow and stuff. But I guess we'll find that out in a little bit. I guess the closest thing I can think that actually sounds like this. I mean, you could say, yeah, this sounds like In Flames. This sounds like it doesn't really sound like Dark Tranquility that much.
Mm-mm.
It sounds a bit like 93 In Flames, but that 93 In Flames kind of had a little bit more like breathing room in their songs. They took more time to do stuff, where this band kind of just frantically shits this out. What is this, like a 15-minute EP, something like that? Yeah, I think the closest thing that I listened to at the time, or that is super like just pure melodic death metal, is like Gates of Ishtar. In particular, the '98 album, which is the one that I'm most familiar with. I really like that one. Pretty similar. They've really got the mixing down of like I consider this one to be a little bit more power metal-ish. Same with Gates of Ishtar. It's not very black metal at all. I mean, I'd kind of struggle to find anything that's like remotely black metal. And as far as like that, it is death metal. It's pretty successfully taken any ugliness or any like any kind of dissonance or like just strangeness out of it. It's pretty straightforward, and it is pretty in a certain way it's original, just because I've never heard a band condense melodeath this way. And that's why I say I think it's like the purest melodeath release that I've ever heard. And it's I still come back to it. I was happy to this popped up in my mind, like, yeah, I'll bring this on. But yeah, if any of you guys, either of you guys have something to say about it, what do you think?
Fredicus?
Yeah, Fredicus. What do you think? Do you like the band name? I
No,
love the band name. In Thy Dreams.
Do you like that I called you Fredicus? Just kidding.
I can deal with Fredicus. It feels very Roman. I dig that.
Fred away.
I mean, melodic death metal's never really been my thing. It has to be pulled off just right for me to really like it.
God damn it, Freddy.
And
Like
this,
Cardinal Sin, do you like that?
Yeah, what are some that you like?
I do like the first Gates of Ishtar album.
You like Cardinal Sin?
Not my favorite. I like early Unanimated.
Oh. Okay.
Decameron was kind of cool. The earliest Dark Tranquility stuff, like before the first album, I really like.
Yeah, I feel. Oh, okay. Even before the first album.
Yeah, like the EPs and demos, or EP and demos. But no, I mean this. I like it. I like it. I just don't think I would. I don't go back to this sort of thing very often. It kind of like reminded me right off the bat of the first Darkane album, Rusted Angel. Just in terms of how spazzy it is, and I think this is what would make me not go back to it. It's kind of too all over the place too often.
You think so?
It's like it's melodic death metal, but too much melody and not enough death metal.
That's the point.
That's what makes it pure melodic death metal.
I know.
It is not death metal anymore.
But like, I would much rather hear something like the ones I mentioned or Autumn Leaves. Autumn Leaves is such a good fucking album.
Yeah.
The Autumn Leaves is a death metal band.
Yeah, but there's a lot of melody in there.
Yeah, but that doesn't make them a melodic death metal band.
I mean, that's debatable. I think they're.
I think
it is debatable. What am I, the king of melodic death? No.
I think Fred's wrong for the first time.
No, it doesn't happen.
I think so too. Melodic death metal is its own thing. It is not death metal with melody. It is something that branches off from heavy metal and death metal, I think, and maybe a little bit of black metal. But it's kind of void of its main influences besides like heavy and power metal.
Yeah,
I think that's what
I don't think
kinda makes it.
I don't think you sprout out from death metal I don't think you get melodic death metal straight from death metal. There's like Iron Maiden.
yeah, you get power metal, trad metal.
Yeah.
And it kind of forms its own subgenre that I think at this point with In Flames and like all the big ones, or even something slightly lesser known like fucking Ebony Tears and shit, they're all so like you said that this one is a little bit too spazzy, which is I feel that a little bit, but not as much as like others. Yeah, I don't think
really
so either.
straightforward.
It's pretty straightforward. Like I would say, like Ablaze My Sorrow and Decameron. Those are spazzy.
Yeah, because this
Those are
is
all over the
more like at the gates
Miscreants.
core.
Kind of. Yeah, but think about like At the Gates wasn't even this melodic. At the Gates had more, like even on their famous Slaughter of the Soul, that had more to do with regular death metal, and it had like melodic parts in it. The whole thing wasn't like a 100%, and it's okay because it's like one of the earliest versions of the Stockholm sound, or like what would later become, At the Gates core, like fucking like the Black Dahlia Murder and stuff, like that kind of takes it to a whole nother level. And
I think
this
that this is like a culmination between like that At the Gates core sound and like the sort of aggressiveness from like a Cantor's Quintet.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like it that's why it feels so actually metal, and it like a fan of death metal. Well, someone like me and you, fans of death metal.
Not Fred. Just kidding.
Yeah, maybe not Fred because but let's just say Fred too. But like, this is aggressive enough, and this is close enough to what death like it. We know what this is. We know where this comes from. We know this sound. It's something familiar. I just feel like this is a really well done version of that sound. Like minusing thrill, like subtracting thrills, subtracting like Fred said, death metal riffs, subtracting any kind of black metal influence besides maybe the vocals, and it's sort of just pure. It's like, when you have like pure THC extract or something. This is the pure melodic death metal, purple juice. That's what's on the cover.
Right to
with
the
those
vein.
girls.
Yeah.
Straight into the vein. Yeah.
But I
Eyes,
think that
go big.
like to that point though, I think it's actually the aggressiveness that kind of rubs me the wrong way a bit, because it makes it aggressively melodic, and I'm like, you guys need to calm down a bit. Like
that is what is so cool about it. That it is so aggressive, and you can feel that. But the riffs themselves are like kind of this, like I'm trapped inside a genie's bottle, fucking like weird paradise place. It's like I'm in dreamland, and it's pretty, but also I'm fucking pissed.
I guess, but like when I think about the more melodic albums that I do like an obvious one, but Velvet Creation, it like everything has a bit more room to breathe.
Yes.
Threnody, As the Heavens Fall, as well, as kind of like it's not this overly aggressive, irritatingly spastic sort of approach.
Hold your
And
tongue.
like, hey, baby. No, and like I said, it's there are elements that I do find annoying, but I do overall like it. I just wouldn't go back to it often because I have to be in the mood for this kind of, again, aggressively melodic death metal that kind of takes it to the extreme, which this does.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. That was good. That was good from all of us, I think. Well, yeah. Why don't we just get into a track and see what we come out with? Oh, what? Do you have something else, Paul?
I didn't even get to say anything.
Oh, dude, say everything. I thought.
No, we're good.
Go
We're
ahead.
good. I'm just
No,
kidding.
we're better off this way.
No, I have heard this.
Right.
You showed me this a while ago when we were getting into a lot of melodic death metal, and I think it is just like a culmination between Cantorus Quintet's like very aggressive sound, and I can't shake the At the Gates influence from it at all.
No, it's there. It's so there.
Yeah, and I think that it takes much more from that than Dark Tranquility, because that is like where it's more all over the place versus more sticking to it, like how Dan and I see this is like very like straightforward, like you can follow it along, and that's kind of like what the melody's for, to make this like a linear listening experience. And
Yeah.
I think that this is a genre that doesn't stem, like I kind of said earlier, doesn't come from within. It's something taking more influence from elsewhere, like heavy metal, whereas like slam is something internally created, from Suffocation, and it spawned a whole genre, versus like you're not gonna get melodic death metal from Cannibal Corpse or something. It has to be something from the outside giving that influence. And like what Dan was saying, it was taking out a lot of the elements that was not making it melodic death metal anymore. It was just kind of, like Fred said, something that's melodic or death metal with melody versus its own sort of like genre that Dan and I see it as, because this is one of my favorite genres of metal, and I think that this is a pretty good essential listen for anyone that wants to hear something that's just purely melodic death metal, it's all right here for you, and even more so because you get it in such a furious dose that it's unmistakable.
Nice. I agree.
But yeah, which track did you want to listen to? I picked the fourth one, I think.
I'm torn between 3 and 5.
Let me see. What was a really good one?
I've
Yeah,
had some
pick
nice
4.
moments in it. Yeah, I think I'll go with 5.
Alright, well, let's go with the fourth track, my pick, Dreams Within, and then we'll be right back. Alright, we're back from The Dream Within. Feel rested.
Yeah, first lyric. When you fall asleep.
So corny.
That's not corny. That's cool.
Eh.
He's just letting you know what happens when you fall asleep. What do you want? Rotting corpses in your house.
Yeah.
Rotting
Yeah.
rat under the bathroom.
Under the bathroom.
Yeah.
That's all I want. No, that folky part that I said sounded kind of Teutonic was pretty cool. I like that bit.
Yeah, we're really slowed down. That was cool.
Yeah.
And it had like everything that I want in in this shit. It's like you got the chuggy heavy metal riffs, and then just sounds like a power metal, release, but just something that you don't get out of that genre, which is like just total aggression and speed and shit. So it's like it's just perfect.
Yeah, it almost doesn't mesh for people when it's like, I like melodic music, I like heavy metal, I like death metal, I like kind of crazy melodic death metal. How about something that's like not poppy like Children of Bodom is, because it's kind of gay. Let's be honest. In Thy Dreams is it's pretty gay. In Thy Dreams is the manliest version of what would later, and this comes out like way before a lot of that stuff comes out. It kind of comes out at like right at the right time, 97.
What's up with this gayness?
I know what's up with the gayness. This yeah, it comes out right at the right time. It's I don't know if you feel this way, Paul, but this release in particular, I've heard some of their later stuff. I like it, but this is my fave. The fucking aesthetic, the cover, the music,
it's just perfect.
Works so much better for me.
The only thing that is missing is like Dan Swano producing it or something.
Whoever produced it did a good job on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does sound good. Everything is very, very clear.
These guys made a good decision by only slowing it down a few times and like letting it groove. Because most of the time you're getting just like way too fast D beats and like dismember beats, and that's legit. That's how you know something is legit when you hear that like straight thrash beat or like the most aggressive Swedish kind of beats.
But, we were talking earlier about this being like aggressively melodic, as I said it, and when we're listening to this, I was thinking, why does that bother me? I can't figure out why this isn't jiving with me. I like fast music. I like thrash. I like grind. I like death. Like, why? I think it's actually the vocals.
I think sick.
I think you just explained it better than I could.
That's not what the vocals sounded like.
Because, like, remember when I said, like, you guys need to calm down? I think I was directing that at the vocals without realizing it, because musically, I like it. It's
pretty
not
standard melodic death metal vocal.
Like I said, melodic death metal is my favorite. So if that's fairly standard melodic death metal vocals, that's probably that's part of the problem.
Okay. Yeah, this I'm quite the opposite. This jives with me 100%.
I think if this had, because the mix or the guitar tone itself is fairly high as well, right? I think if the vocals had been a bit lower, a bit more traditional death metal, that would have contrasted really well with it.
No, it wouldn't.
I don't know if there. Jeez, Paul. I don't know if there's any actual like death metal vocals on this, like as backing things. I don't recall, but
I think a lot of with how like high flying this is, and a lot of melodic death metal is, I think that this vocal approach is like the only thing that's appropriate, because it may sound dumb, but like the death metal vocals kind of are, I don't know, would like hold it back. Like
they're meant for a band like Disgorged. They're meant to confuse and like, it's like, where's the genius? With this band, yeah, there's genius, but that's kind of in the genius is that it's sort of going all out, and it's like right in your face right away. You need to know what's going on at all times. That's kind of the genius.
And I think
maybe, but either they're a bit too streaky or a bit too forward in the mix. But like when I compare it to something like Gates of Ishtar, especially that first album, the vocals aren't like deep death vocals, but they don't bother me on that. But they do here for some reason. They might just be a bit too forward in the mix, where I can hear a bit too much of how shrieky they are.
I just skipped to a random page in my notes from episodes back, and I'm looking at a dash. It says giant boobs. I'm not sure why.
That's legit, though.
Okay. What were you going to say, Paulie?
I think I forgot. Yeah.
Oh, bullshit.
God damn it.
Got distracted by the big boobs.
Giant boobs.
Or giant boobs, yeah.
Giant boobs.
He always does this.
I was gonna ask you, Paul, if you would maybe you'd agree with me, maybe not. I feel like this has a kind of unique guitar approach with some of these riffs. Like even that very first one, it was like, how the fuck did that first riff go? Is that the one that?
Yeah, that's
it. Yeah, there's something about this that maybe it is just all the at the gate stuff and like all the stuff that comes before this, like fucking cardinal sin and shit, that is just super condensed, and it kind of like there is no room to breathe. It just keeps going and coming back and then going.
Yeah, I think I was gonna say something about the vocals. It may also be coming from heavy metal as well, where everything's more like pronounced and stuff like that, versus
Where it's like really important.
Yeah, versus like death metal and stuff, where it's more of a, lack of a better word, like afterthought or something, versus like power metal and heavy metal, where it's like that's sort of like the main focus. Where these guys kind of take that influence and not run with it, but have that in mind while, writing the patterns and I guess in the mix too.
I think where, like, there are parts on this album that are more geared towards, like, heavy metal riffing rather than that kind of single note melodic stuff. I mean, it's kind of just a mix of that. There's not really much else. There's, like, heavy metal and melodic riffing. And by that, I mean that, like, single note stuff. But if you actually listen to the heavy metal type stuff, it's actually way more intricate than most heavy metal would be. Like, or at least it's not as generic as like just some generic heavy metal.
Yeah, like a power metal thing where
it's like all the riffs are actually trying. Yeah, exactly. Power metal is like a better example.
Yeah, because a lot of the fast parts in power metal, the riffs are just like all the riffs are just like where they kind of replace that speed with the melodic single note stuff.
Yeah, and they're also more they're paying more attention to like how the riff kind of goes with the drum beat, kind of in a tail end sort of way, or in a transitional sort of way, not transitional in the way like riff to riff, but transitional like within the riffs, the way that they change with kind of the drumming and the vocals. It's sort of different, I believe.
I believe.
Yeah, Eddie Murphy, very good. Donkey.
I believe I can fly. No.
Stubborn jackass. All right. Well, what do you say we listen to another short track, and then
was
we
that
talk
the
a little
fifth
bit more,
one?
and then we're done. Yeah, it is. Let's see. It is the one at 12:46.
The stream of Dispraised Souls, and we'll
This
be
one's
right back.
short, but it has it's got some different type of stuff in it. I'm gonna go piss.
Nothing left.
All right, we're
Pretty
back.
abrupt. Yes, we are. For the stream of Dispraised Souls. Never find your way out.
So yeah, it
Down,
it
down, 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 down.
it is the vocals I don't really like.
Grow up, Freddy.
No.
And Paul's on it today with the
Fred
the
Smackdown.
fucking- with the Fred beat down. The Fred smacked.
Don't smack me down.
I heard everything you said. But yeah, that song starts off with a real, again, a kind of interesting riff. Speeds it up a little bit with the kind of dismembered, like. I love I love when the kicks kind of are super pronounced for those like really funky beats that like
Yeah, like the groove
didn't even
parts.
stay too long. Yeah, it just flowed right on through. And that was a nice chorus too. I feel like that's the first time you hear a slowed down kind of single note thing. Down, 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 down. The hip hop part, Fred called it the rap part.
Yeah, he kind of raps his way through that.
And oh, that song did have the one, the thing closest to a death metal riff. It was like, I can't really think of a band that would do something exactly like that. But it felt a lot deeper than everything else. Like everything else is very like bright and high on the neck. That one was a little bit on like the fucking second string there. Pretty cool kind of juxtaposition.
Yeah, I tend to like when the melodic riffs go on like the heavier strings, just to contrast it, but not in like a whole tonal shift. It's like not going into like a chug riff or something. It's still going along the melodic lines, but just in a different, I guess different, not octave, but just a deeper tone.
Mm.
Yeah. Right after the last chorus in that song, the down 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 down, where it says you're in the stream of dispraised souls, you'll never find your way out. It kind of goes into that outro riff, which is really nice. Goes down with like an even deeper guitar behind it. I think that was another one of those slightly deeper kind of riffs. That was just a great ending, and then it kind of abruptly stops.
Cuts right off, yeah.
It's a very abrupt ending, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah, how else would it stop?
Fades out gently.
I think that final riff needs to be studied. I think I'm going to learn that. That sounds like the most fun thing to play ever.
Yeah, I think this is a great way to end the album too.
Just abruptly.
Yeah.
Yeah, God. I can't get over that last riff. I want to listen to it more. Like that one singular riff. God, it's so fucking good. Yeah, Freddie, you already mentioned you don't like the vocals on this. What did you think of the song, the music? If you can get past the vocals at all.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, when I was listening to it before, realizing what was bothering me about it, it was just like rubbing me the wrong way. Trying to ignore the vocals a bit more. Musically, this is great. Like, I do enjoy it from a musical standpoint. I just, I don't know if I get used to the vocals with time, but I mean, I've given a lot of melodic death metal a fair shot over the years, and it hasn't always clicked. I feel like these might not, but huh?
I was gonna say something and then I coughed. No, I was gonna say it's interesting that you don't like these because they're not that different from any other melodic death metal band. They're pretty
no,
similar.
but there's just something about his pronunciation, his inflections,
Yeah.
his pacing, his timing. Like, he's trying to cram too much into it. I'm like,
Yeah.
Damn, Fred's just a hater.
He doesn't really hold any long notes either. He's just quick. He like barks them out really quick.
yeah,
That I kind of like. I kind of like that it's not. It almost feels like this dude doesn't see himself as like the most important part of the band, where a lot of vocalists would. This kind of feels like just to me the perfect mix. The perfect mix for an EP like this.
well, it's funny you say that though, because if he doesn't see himself as the most important part of the band, the mixing and the vocals begs to differ, right? Like,
They're a little loud. I'll give you that. They're a little loud.
and I think that like distracts from the actual musicality of the tracks. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I just don't feel the same way, but that's okay.
Yeah, no, that's legit. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, if I don't like the vocals, I'm the one who's screwed, not you.
I suppose so.
What the fuck matter with
You get to enjoy something I don't. Who wins out here?
Yeah, I mean, I really didn't do any kind of research on like what people were saying about this. I mean, Fred, have you ever heard of this band?
Well, I was seeing that
In
people,
that, yeah, I have, because was it Century Media that released their later albums, and I remember seeing their first album. I forget what it's called, but that cover was some Bud Ugly, Cradle of Filth sort of bullshit.
Yeah, it
And
looks stupid.
then the second album, I think the second album did that come out on Century Media? Yeah, it did. Did the first album come out on Century Media as well? What did I know about that one? No, it didn't. All right, well, whatever. That second album has like the worst case of the 2000s on the album cover. It's just, oh, I hate that artwork so much. And I remember seeing that come out, and I don't think I ever listened to it. I'm kind of curious to see if the album and the EP live up to the music delivered on this. This is just a demo reissued, right? Or is it? Or is it a different recording?
It's a different recording.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to see if the albums maintain the level of quality that the music has, but like tones the vocals down a bit, because I might actually dig that a bit more.
You know, we really didn't compare the riffing to anything. Like, we kind of did a little bit, but I feel like that's kind of not important for a band like this, if that makes sense.
I mean, I think the influences are pretty.
Yeah, like that doesn't really
Pretty clear.
matter.
I mean,
It's
like,
yeah, you don't. Yeah. Well, Paul kind of
You've
said
got, like-
enough with At the Gates and Cantor's Quintet and stuff.
Yeah, and like Mid-Era Carcass as well, right? So
Maybe
to a
yeah.
degree.
Yeah, Paul was going to say something about people saying stuff about this album.
Yeah, I was reading reviews of it, and people were saying like, "Oh yeah, this is a solid start. I like their later albums more than this." And I didn't get to check out the later albums, but I mean, I can't imagine it being any better
Yeah.
than this.
Yeah, I can't.
I'm
I
pulling up.
remember I used to listen to those, but I don't.
I'm pulling up
remember
the
if they
second
were
album
that
right
good.
now.
Which one? The Highest Beauty.
Yeah.
It is pretty good. Like I just started it.
It is pretty good.
Hey, the vocals are more traditional death metal.
Oh no.
Are they?
Yeah.
Now I'm hearing some pretty high ones.
Oh, maybe it's just I'm at like 6 minutes in.
I'm at 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, there they are.
You know what? No, it's not better. It's good, but hell no, it ain't better. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can kind of see that. I mean, it's everything about this is like so perfectly aligned. Fred said that the the album had a bad case of the 2000s. I feel like this cover has a good case of the fucking mid 90s. Everything's kind of perfect about it.
Oh yeah, no, the cover on the EP is great. I really like that.
Yeah, it is.
It's
great.
like
sound
almost-
too.
it almost like the face of the mirrored face of the person almost looks like Victorian. It's weird. It looks like an old like Memento Mori photograph, and just like
It looks like the princess from Neverending Story. She's like, say my name, Atreyu. Or what? No, what was the kid's name? Bastion. Say my name, Bastion. I forgot what her name was. And then he flies on the dragon, and they like eat the bullies or something.
I'm listening to bits of the first album right now. I mean, like, whether you like it more than the EP or not, I don't think so. But it sounds pretty good too. The vocals don't sound as spastic so far on the first album, so
Right.
this is a bit more my speed.
Freddie can't
there's
keep
some-
up.
There's some comments here.
You know what, Paul?
There's some comments here on the YouTube video. Somebody says, I see a purple cover. I see Sweden. I see 97. I see the perfect ingredients for a classic. I agree with that. Somebody says, been searching for this 15 years. Somebody says, dude, I want to cry. So underrated. I think so too. It's pretty cryable. It's pretty cryable, I would say so. Oh, wait, here's a perfect comment. It says, this album is a masterpiece of melodic death metal. I agree. This is pure melodic death metal, and it is extremely good. And I don't think there's any replicant of it. It's not the most original thing. It's not groundbreaking. It's not an originator, but it is something that stands on its own in this genre as one of the best, in my opinion, and one of the purest, in my opinion, and something that cannot be replicated. Or I don't think anybody can do it. I doubt.
Did you say you hadn't listened to the first album?
I don't remember. I know I've heard the second one. Don't remember if I heard the first one.
Listen to the first one. This is pretty good. I'm enjoying this.
All right, let me listen to the entire thing right now. Let's see.
The album I mentioned earlier that this EP kind of reminded me of Dark Gain. Have you heard that at all?
No.
Rusted Angel?
No,
It's-
I haven't heard that.
It's melodic death metal as well. Very, very fast. And the vocals kind of have the same sort of shriek, which I think ultimately kind of turned me away from Dark Gain. But it's a pretty cool album. Especially track, I think 3, Bound.
Rusted Angel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Track 3 is pretty wild.
Huh. The vocals on this are like more annoying than the vocalists we're talking about.
Yeah, that's eventually why I got rid of that album, but musically it's pretty sick.
It seems interesting. It's pretty core. It's pretty metalcore. I'm listening to it right now. Oh, also, Paul, yeah, go ahead and check out the first album by In Thy Dreams. It's sounding pretty good. And it's in thy dreams, dude.
Check it before bed.
Check it before bed. Yeah, this is a classic for me. This is a cult-ish classic that I come back to, and it's pretty dank, and it's moving. It moves me, and I'm going to learn that final riff on guitar and rip it off completely and go, check this out. I'm gonna create a song out of that riff only. That's what I'm gonna do. I just want to play that thing. Yeah. Anybody else? Final words? Final goodbyes?
Just a pure melodic death metal release, compacted and kind of combined of or a combination of At the Gates and Cantor's Quintet. Very, very aggressive, and it seems like everything's kind of serving the song and the riffing here more so than being more like show-offy in any way.
Yeah.
And still in its roots of like taking influence from heavy metal and power metal. It's just like a great subgenre that's one of my favorites, and this is a great release within it.
Definitely. Don't piss in the stream of Dispraised Souls.
Don't pee in it. Just don't.
No wet dreams. Yeah, Fred.
That's a wrap. Oh, unless Fred has something.
No, that was... I don't know what to add to that.